Today, I'm embarking on a back-to-school meal prep marathon to fill up our fridge and freezer with homemade snacks, grab-and-go breakfasts, and easy lunchbox staples that will help make school mornings run a little smoother. I have never put this much flour in the mixer before. My goal was to prep as many healthy, from-scratch options as possible in one day. And let's just say it ended up being a bit more chaotic than I planned. This was supposed to be easy. This is a mess. I want to give up on this. The cleaning never ends. Feeding my family from scratch takes more time than grabbing something from the store, but it's a priority in our home. If you're here, you probably care about that too, and you're looking for simple, homemade ideas to make busy days a little easier. So join me in my kitchen as I embark on a full day of prepping real food that's ready when you need it. Grab your coffee and let's get started. Thank you to Thrive Market for sponsoring this video. Today's gonna be a lot of work, but I think it's also gonna be a lot of fun. I'm really excited. I've got a whole bunch of recipes I wanna make. Some of them I've made before, a lot of them I haven't, so we're just gonna be along for the ride today. We're gonna start with something easy. First, we're gonna start off with Chewy Seedy Granola Bars. I posted this recipe on my blog and you guys love it, and so do I. You're gonna start off on the stove and melt a 1/4 cup of salted butter, brown sugar, and honey. We're gonna create a syrup. Keep the heat at medium-low so you don't burn anything, and then add in a pinch of salt and a teaspoon of cinnamon. And then once that gets nice and bubbly, you can turn off the heat and add in a tablespoon of almond butter. You can also sub out peanut butter or sunflower seed butter here. Then add in 4 tablespoons of your seeds of choice. I'm doing pumpkin seed and flaxseed here. Now add in 2 teaspoons of vanilla extract. One and a half cups of rolled oats. Mix it up really well. You want the syrup to get all over everything so it's nice and sticky. This is how the granola bars are gonna hold together. Now add 2 cups of rice cereal. This is gonna add some nice crunch to your granola bars. Into a parchment-lined loaf pan, you're gonna scoop out all of the mixture and then press it down. You can use the parchment paper to fold it over itself and press it down. I'm also topping it with a sprinkle, about a 1/3 cup of chocolate chips. I'm using a large Pullman loaf pan and it's the perfect size for this recipe. I'm putting it in the freezer now just to let it harden up, and I will cut those up and wrap them up later. This is another quick and easy recipe. You're gonna start with a 1/2 cup of creamy peanut butter and then a 1/4 cup of maple syrup. Add in 2 tablespoons of chia seeds and 2 tablespoons of my favorite protein powder. This is Clean Simple Eats Simply Vanilla flavor. Then add in 2.5 tablespoons of ground flaxseed and then mix that up. Into that, we're gonna add 1 1/4 cups of rolled oats, and then of course a sprinkle of chocolate chips. You're gonna shape these into little bite-sized balls and then store them in the freezer. They make a great little snack. My daughter says these taste like chocolate peanut butter cups and they have protein in them, so I'm happy with that. I have started what I call a messy plate, so utensils that I will likely be using again and don't want to wash yet, I keep on that plate. So now I want to thank Thrive Market for sponsoring this video. If you guys haven't checked out Thrive Market yet, now is a great time to do so with back to school season here. They are currently offering their biggest back to school sale ever with 25% off all back to school bestsellers like Lunchbox staples, snack packs, and on-the-go bites. For me, this is making today's meal prep a lot easier. You may have noticed that I'm using a lot of Thrive Market products, and that's because when I planned this video and what I was gonna make, I went ahead and placed my order and it was delivered right to my door. So Thrive Market is an online grocery store that offers affordable groceries. They're not only affordable, they're also brands that have been vetted free of artificial colors, dyes, all sorts of things that we don't want in our food. Thrive Market vets it out for you, so you know that you're getting a healthier product all around. I'm planning on making carrot applesauce muffins today, so I got a lot of applesauce. We also love their peanut butter, which we use all the time. There are some items that I will never find in the grocery store, and if I do find them, I'm gonna have to drive to a specialty store. So these items that I've purchased, I guarantee you if I went to the local grocery store, would be a lot more expensive. I really like getting my spices from Thrive. They offer really great pricing and great options for spices. I've also recently been trying out this sourdough pasta, which we've been loving. And these dried blueberries I'm gonna use in one of the recipes I'm making today. Some other items that are usually hard for me to find are coconut milk and then also tahini. So I got all of that at Thrive Market in this box. And I'm excited to use it all up with lots of different meal prep and recipes. With all of that said, now is a great time to join Thrive Market if you've been thinking about it. They have their back to school sale, but also if you use the link in my description, thrivemarket.com/christinesnotebook, you'll get an additional 30% off your first order and a free gift. So do not delay. This lasts for the month of August, but best sellers will not be on sale for long. So if you're wanting to save money in the grocery store while you're getting prepped for back to school, go check out Thrive Market. All right, so I've gotten some easier things out of the way. Now I'm gonna put my apron on and get going on the bread I'm planning on making. I'm gonna do a soft white sandwich bread, but I wanna do half freshly milled hard white wheat flour just for added nutritional benefit. And I decided to not do sourdough bread, but to do a yeasted bread because it's a more neutral flavor, because I'm making a bunch of Uncrustables. So I'm gonna put them in the freezer, and that's gonna be what we throw in our kids' lunches for a good bit here. I have a new apron. I actually made it out of a dress that I didn't really like. And so I just kind of cut into it and made a new apron. So I'm gonna hopefully keep my outfit clean. But let's get going here. I'm making a tongzong, and that's basically a thick paste which uses some of the water, milk, and flour from the recipe. And so that's gonna go into the dough and hopefully keep it extra soft. I'm using a skillet here because this is a large batch. I'm feeling a bit ambitious here and doing 5 loaves. And so the skillet helps this process go a little faster than a saucepan. This is gonna go in the bread. It's just milk, water, and flour. And you make a thick paste and you add it to the dough and it makes it soft. That's how we ended up with that really soft sandwich bread. I'm pouring this into the mixer so it can cool faster, and while that's going on, I'll get the rest of my ingredients together. So I actually already milled my flour this morning. In this bowl, I have about 1,000 grams, maybe less, of freshly milled hard white wheat flour, and then the rest of the flour I'll use is all-purpose. I got this recipe from Claire Soffitz over on her YouTube channel. She was making a Copycat Uncrustables, and so I actually just took her recipe and multiplied it by 5 and then subbed out half hard white wheat flour. So it's kind of an experiment to see how it turns out, but I made this as a single loaf and it turned out beautifully. And so I do recommend you make it as a single loaf first and then maybe venture to doubling it and tripling it from there if you plan on doing batch cooking like I'm doing. So I'm just measuring out my flour now. I have never put this much flour in the mixer before. This is a ton. I feel like an actual baker, but we'll see how it goes. With this Uncrustables mixer, they say you're supposed to add the liquid ingredients first and then slowly add in the flour. So that's what I'm doing now. I was really having a hard time fitting all the ingredients in here and having it still mix properly. It had no problem turning. It's just the dough was going all over the place. This is a mess. The thing about freshly milled grains is you want to let them kind of sit and absorb the water a little bit before you knead it completely. So I'm gonna do that, but I'm starting to wonder why I decided to do 5 loaves of bread, because this is like a lot of dough and I don't even know if it's gonna work out, because I know when you do things in bulk, it kind of changes things. I've made this bread already once and it turned out perfect. So I just don't know how this is gonna turn out. I guess we'll just find out together. So I'm gonna cover this up and let it do its thing for a minute. It's already noon and my bread is, you know, just barely gotten started. I still have a lot more to do, but my kids are at their grandparents' house today, so I have the whole day to work on this. So I'm just gonna try to knock it all out. I don't even know if it's possible based on everything I have selected here, but we'll find out, I guess. I have recently become obsessed with these blueberry RX bars, and so I found a copycat recipe and I've altered it a bit, and I'm gonna see if I can replicate it. So there's like a loud noise coming from the food processor, so I think there's like a pit or something in here that I need to get rid of. So I have to like sort through this now. This was supposed to be easy. Come on, where are you? Found it. There's a pit. Let's try this again. Okay, so now I'm gonna put in a 1/2 cup of almonds and I'm just gonna pulse them a little bit. Actually, before I do that, I'm gonna add in the protein powder. So this is just egg white powder, which is what adds all the protein to these RX bars. I've never done this before, so I don't really know how it's gonna work, but we'll find out. I have decided that I'm gonna add a little bit of water and vanilla extract because it's looking fairly dry right now, and hopefully that will help it along. So let me add the vanilla first. Try and eyeball about a teaspoon, maybe less, about a 1/2 teaspoon. And now I'm gonna add the water as it's running. All right, starting to come together into a really good texture. So I'm happy with that. I'm gonna add the almonds and the blueberries in a second. I don't want the almonds to get completely obliterated. I want like little chunks because that's exactly how the RX bars are. All right, I'm not gonna go crazy with this because I don't wanna ruin what I have here. And now I'm gonna add in all of these blueberries. They're gonna make them super delicious. Oh, it smells so good. So you actually can dehydrate your own blueberries, which I have done before, and they turn out so good. I get those little small wild blueberries from Costco, and you can dry them out in the oven at a low temperature. It takes a long time. I can't remember exactly, but one of these days I'll do that again. I just didn't think I could do it today. It's like not mixing. This was supposed to be my easy one. You do have to be really careful when you reach into your food processor because the blade will definitely cut you. I have learned that from experience. All right, it's perfect now. Beautiful. Let's try it. really good. It's really, really similar to the RX bar. I really, really like it, so very pleased. I looked something up and discovered that the dough hook is better for large batches of dough. So I'm gonna use that. And I have a pretty good feeling that the dough is gonna climb up this thing. I'm fully expecting a big mess, but we're just gonna go with it and see what happens. My dough was having a hard time mixing. There's just too much in there, so I just kept shoving it down and just hoping that it would just develop as much gluten as it could. But in the future, I will be doing smaller batches of dough. This was just a little ambitious of me. Now I'm just pressing down my blueberry RX bars. I first tried to press it down with my hands and then a measuring cup, but the winner ended up being parchment paper. So if you put parchment paper on it, you can easily smooth down the surface. And I will cut those up into little bars later. Next up, I'll be making Copycat iced oatmeal cookie Z bars. My kids really like these Z bars, and this recipe had a lot of positive reviews, so I'm excited to try it. I love how it has a lot of different types of sweeteners, and it also uses dried figs. These are just some ingredients that I don't use often, and so I was so curious how this would turn out. First, you pulse all these ingredients together until they are fairly smooth. Then you open it up and add 1 more cup of oats and pulse that just enough until you have a batter that has some texture. This isn't winning any aesthetics awards today, but just bear with me. So you're gonna put this on a parchment lined sheet pan and spread it out to about 1/2 inch thick. It does not need to cover the whole pan. I ended up greasing the back of this spatula with some coconut oil, and that really helped me to be able to spread it out. You just wanna try and get a pretty clean rectangle, but you can still shape it even after it has baked. You can kind of mold it a little bit. But just do the best that you can and then put it in the oven at 350 for 11 to 13 minutes. My mixer has been going this whole time. It's looking a little bit improved, but not perfect. Regardless, I'm going to take it out now and try to shape it. This dough is very tacky and a little too sticky, so I'm just going to put some flour on the surface here and get it into a ball and let it rise in this container. Oh my gosh. This is a mess. It's not going so good. I tried my best with some flour and a dough scraper to get this dough into a more workable state. But it was definitely a frustrating process, and I was beginning to wonder if I needed to just give up on this altogether. It's not looking good. It's just not working. I decided to take half of the dough and put it back in the mixer to see if it could go for a while and develop more gluten, and just move on to another task while that's going. Things were beginning to feel quite hectic in this kitchen, and things were not exactly going to plan. But regardless, we're moving forward. I'm just taking these Z bars out of the oven. They are looking good. And now I'm going to shred some carrots that I need for a muffin recipe. You'll see that my food processor is still dirty, and that's on purpose because those flavors go well together, and I strategically used my food processor in such a way that I could use it 3 times before needing to actually wash it. Now I'm milling 3 cups of hard red wheat berries to make some freshly milled flour for some delicious muffins I'm about to make. We love using freshly milled flour for lots of different baked goods, and they especially work really well for muffins. And I love this recipe. I've made it before, but I'm gonna make it again, and this time I'm doing a double batch. It's just too good to not share. I love the different flavors. It reminds me of fall. It uses only real, wholesome ingredients, and because I'm using freshly milled flour, it adds some nutritional benefits. But first, I really need to shape my dough. It's time to get it going. I need to get it in the oven before it gets too late in the day. So I'm gonna plop it on the counter and try to shape it into loaves now. This is gonna rise for about 45 minutes and then I'll shape it into loaves. And now I'm gonna move on to making carrot applesauce muffins. First, I'm gonna melt a cup of butter. After mixing up that batter, you're gonna add in 2 cups of unsweetened applesauce and 1.5 cups of shredded carrots and just fold those in. This is a great breakfast or snack muffin, and you can reduce the amount of honey if you'd like to lessen the amount of sugar in this. I've done that before and it's still really good, but this is the original recipe and it's quite delicious. You're gonna bake this at 350 for 22 to 25 minutes. And I seem to have misplaced one of my muffin trays, and so I'm gonna have to do all of my muffins today in batches. At this point, I was starting to feel overwhelmed and hitting a wall, and so I called for help. I have my second cup of coffee for this afternoon. I want to give up on this, but I will not give up on this. So, drink this coffee and then on we go. I'm gonna top the Z-bars with an icing. I did 5 tablespoons of powdered sugar, a teaspoon of water, and a 1/2 teaspoon of vanilla extract. And you can put this in a little Ziploc bag and snip the end off and kind of pipe on a zigzag shape, or you can just do what I'm doing and just kind of smear it on there. And now I'm just gonna let that cool. My first batch of muffins are done, so now I'm gonna get the next one in there. First, I need to free up my muffin tray. I'm going to grease these pans. The time has come to shape my sandwich loaves finally. I have 4 loaf pans, but 2 of those are larger, and so that's why I did a recipe for 5 loaves, but I'm only making 4. So basically you want to get it into a rectangle shape and apply some tension, tug on that dough, and roll it up tightly. And just make sure that it fits into your loaf pan. You want the width of the rectangle to be about the width of your loaf pan. And then just cover that with some plastic wrap and let that rise until it reaches the top of the pan. This loaf was wider because the loaf pan is longer. I'm gonna set those near the oven so that they can rise. And once they are ready, I'll put those in. My second batch of muffins are finished. I am nearing the finish line here. I got most everything finished, but now I need to do a little bit of savory items. So I'm gonna make some sausage, egg, and cheese egg cups, like little egg muffins. And then I might make another type of muffin. I don't know, we'll see. And then I'm also going to then stick this in the freezer for a little bit and then cut it up and try and make sausage patties and cook those up. I don't know how much time I have left today, so I'm just gonna get rolling, and if I don't finish, then I will wrap up everything tomorrow morning. So pretty successful day so far. So half of this I'm gonna turn into crumbles, and the other half I'm gonna do sausage patties. All gone. For these egg muffins, I'm very much winging it. I did 18 eggs, a little splash of milk, a teaspoon of salt, about a teaspoon of onion powder, and a half teaspoon of pepper. I don't think I have the patience for this. I'm gonna switch to the immersion blender. I'm adding about a cup and a half of shredded cheddar cheese, and now I'm gonna go free up my muffin tray and make these egg muffins. I'm putting sausage crumbles at the bottom of the muffin tray. I just peeked over and saw that my bread has completely risen over the edge of the pan, so it needs to go in the oven now. I have it at 350, and I'm gonna set a timer for 35 minutes and then just check it. And I want the internal temperature to be 190 degrees. Okay, so those are going in, but these need just a little bit longer to rise because I want this to go a little higher, close to the top of the pan. The cleaning never ends. If you guys are in the market for a new dishwasher, I highly recommend the one that I have. It is incredible. I put stuff in there completely dirty and it comes out sparkling clean. So, super impressed with my dishwasher. I'm gonna link it in the description in case someone out there is looking for a recommendation. I know when I was doing my kitchen and choosing appliances, I appreciated all of the information that I could get. So anyways, just finishing up here. Oh no, it ripped. I'm checking the internal temperature of my bread. It's not quite 190, so I'm gonna let it go a little bit longer. It's probably because I have so many things in this oven. I'm double checking the temperature because there's a lot in there, so I need to make sure the temperature is right. And I don't know what happened to my egg muffins. Clearly I overfilled the tray, so I'm gonna do less next time. So now I'm gonna take my other muffins, now that they've cooled, I'm gonna stick them in the freezer and do a flash freeze for about 2 hours. Clearly one of my kids spilled a drink in the freezer. I haven't cleaned that up yet. So now my bread is finished, at least the first batch is. I have multiple timers going at the moment, and now my last loaf of bread is going in the oven. My Z-bars have finished cooling, so I'm cutting them up into small little bars that I can stick in my kids' lunchboxes. And these turned out really good. I thought they were really tasty, and I love the texture, and the icing on top is a nice little treat. So I would say that these are a win. I'm just gonna package these up into a glass container with some parchment paper to separate the layers, and then my kids can just go into the freezer and grab one or two whenever they want. They work great from the freezer. They're not too hard, so they can pull them straight from the freezer and enjoy them, or pack them in their lunch for later. I didn't have a ton of the egg mixture left over, so I added 2 more eggs, and I'm adding less to each muffin cup this time, and that should work out better. I had this meat in the freezer, but only for about an hour. If you let it freeze a little longer, maybe 2 hours, it will cut a lot easier, but this did work out really nicely. I want to thank a subscriber for commenting and giving me this tip on how to easily cut sausage patties. And so this just helps save us money, because when you buy sausage in bulk and then cook it yourself, it just goes further. I also thought these egg muffins could use a bit of sweetness, so I'm adding just a little bit of maple syrup to each one, and that actually turned out to be a really good idea. My sandwich bread is now cooling, and my egg muffins are finished. The oven is finally turning off. Alright, here are the results from today's baking marathon. So I flash froze these muffins. I'm going to put them in a container now. Because these are flash frozen, I can put them all in one container and store them in the freezer without them getting smushed. Oh, I got some in here. We're just going to make do. That was a lot of work. I am quite exhausted. I still need to pack up everything and put it away, but I'm gonna save this for tomorrow. So tomorrow morning, I'm gonna make Uncrustables, and then I'm going to flash freeze the egg muffins, and then pack these up and just get everything stored away in the freezer, because I'm hoping that as we eat these, we will eat them slowly instead of my kids just like eating them all at once. I'm gonna hide things away so that as I get low on things, I can pull out another snack that can go in their lunchbox. So that was kind of why I did so much. I need to get going and get my kids. So I will see you in the morning. Well, it is a new day today. I got a good night's sleep last night, a workout this morning, a fresh shower, and so I feel rejuvenated and ready to finish this task. So I'm going to start cutting up all this bread that I made, and make some Uncrustables. This is kind of the moment of truth to see if the bread is soft enough to hold together when I shape them. My bread was looking pretty good, usable, but not perfect. Obviously, I had a lot of issues while making this, but it still turned out, and any of the pieces that had holes in them, I just used for regular sandwiches or toast. We had a lot of bread to work with, so it was okay. I would say that's not bad for a day's work. Now I'm just gonna lay out all the good and usable pieces on the countertop, and we're gonna make our sandwiches right on the counter here. All right, so we're gonna test out my method first and see how it goes. So I have a cup of water here, and then I have this Uncrustable cutter that I got off Amazon. I will link this in the description. So let's see how this goes. Uncrustables have peanut butter on both sides and then jelly in the middle. So that's what I'm gonna do. Maybe I should get a separate jelly knife. Probably should do that. The idea is that you seal it just like you would like a ravioli by adding some water along the edges. So the first circle cuts the shape, and then the second one presses it down, seals it, and creates those nice edges. Not bad. So the main thing is just being careful that the bread doesn't break, especially when you're using freshly milled flour. It can tend to be a little bit more crumbly, but I think this does the job. I'm pretty pleased with this. It's obviously not perfect, but my kids really like it, and it should store up nicely. So now we're just going to work through all of this bread and make as many Uncrustables as we can. I think I got better as time went on. This one turned out so perfect. Also, something to keep in mind, if you use a wider loaf pan, you won't get those little bits of crust on the sides of your Uncrustables. The pans I use are a 4x9, but if you use a 5x9, you might find that a little easier to work with. But I do like the thinner ones because there's less waste. Last but not least, we need to wrap these up. I'm using just a little square of plastic wrap to individually wrap each sandwich so that I can put it all into a single bag, and then the kids can grab one and go. So now I'm gonna put these in the freezer, and we're not gonna eat these right away because we have some extra bread. All of the scrap bread, like any of the bread that had too many holes in them, we're gonna use just for sandwiches throughout the week, and then I'm gonna save the Uncrustables for when we're, ready for something easy. So what's great about these is they go in the freezer, and you can stick them right in your kid's lunchbox, and it can thaw in the lunchbox, and by lunchtime it's ready. So it's kind of the perfect lunchbox sandwich. I know it looks like I'm using a lot of plastic here, but all of these plastic bags are not even getting dirty, so I'm gonna reuse them. So all I have to do after this is pack away my granola bars and the Z bars, which I completely forgot about yesterday. I forgot I even made them. Yesterday was a blur, okay? You guys might not remember these granola bars because it was about 40 minutes ago, so thank you for watching this far. If you have, please make these granola bars. They are so, so good. I promise everyone will love them. I'm packaging them up in a little bit of plastic wrap because it's just the most convenient for packing for school. And I store these in the refrigerator. They are so good when they're cold. They're nice and crunchy. And now I'm just gonna cut up my, what are these called? Z bars, no, RX bars. I'm gonna cut my RX bars up. These have a lot of protein in them. So they're also a little bit sticky. I wasn't sure how to package them, but I decided just to keep them loose and to put some parchment paper between the layers and keep them in the refrigerator for now, because I think those will last a good bit here, and we'll use them for the first weeks of school. I am done. Thank you so much for joining me for this back to school freezer meal prep video. I would take everything out now and show you, but I kind of already did that yesterday, and everything's packed away so nicely now that I don't want to do any more. So I hope you enjoyed this video. Obviously, don't feel like you have to go and make a whole bunch of things. This is more just to show you some recipes that you could try at home and to inspire you to maybe make your own homemade snacks for your kids' school lunches and to just honestly have fun in the kitchen. So I will see you in my next video. If you liked this content, please like and subscribe and comment down below and say hi. All right, bye.